When you think of your business name, whatever pops into your customer's head as a connection to that, that's your brand. If you write down your name, every time you look at that, whatever you think of, that's your identity, right? Whatever other people think of their first thought, that's your reputation. So memory is really affecting so much more in our lives. And if we ignore it, then we're ignoring the single biggest thing that helps us get where we want to go. So I know everybody in this room, probably the biggest challenge is you want more sales. You want more customers, you want more people to remember you. And you want to use the experiences that you have with them to have an experience that sticks in their mind so much that they come back and be customers again and again. And I know a lot about that, not just being the memory guy, but I mean, I run a PR agency, so we're a service company, and we have the same thing. You know, we have clients, we give them experiences. You know, we don't always deliver everything that they had hoped for, but we always deliver everything we promised. And you know, there's ups and downs and challenges, but we have a good reputation because we always think of that next step. How are they going to remember this interaction? How are they going to remember this experience? So I got a couple of tips here, and we'll go through them on the flyer so you can see it in front of you. One of the first things you want to do in your advertising and your marketing is you want to use language that keeps in mind what's called pre-memory. So pre-memory is what people already think of you. So like, how many times have you talked to a customer and they're kind of debating as to whether to talk to you or just to go on like Travelocity or do it themselves or something like that, and they're not really sure what you bring to the table? Or maybe I should ask you, what is the biggest assumption or false assumption that customers make of you right when they call you up?
They want to pay. Some customers want to see if you can get them a better rate.
Right. So they want some sort of secret deal. You want to have like a secret connection to them. And what you really bring to the table is organization, is stress-free travel, is concierge service, is all these other things that they don't see, right? So what I want you to do is describe or paint the picture of what it's like to work with you. If you're trying to get a customer to move from an assumption like that, which is a tough thing, everybody wants a deal, right? And if you can't honestly get them a better deal, but you can get them just as good as anywhere else, then the best way to describe that is by painting a picture. We do it in our company, we do it by telling stories. So there's an old phrase that I learned is stories sell, but information informs, but stories sell. So what you want to do in a response to that, and you want to do this in the advertising, is to tell them, hey, just picture you're at the airport. And you know, the couple next to you is stressed out because they don't know where this is, or they didn't get the TSA requirement, or they didn't show up on time, or they had something wrong with their itinerary, and you're there and it's all stress-free because I'm taking care of all of it for you. Does that make sense? And I'm doing it, and I'm saving you just as much money as if you were to go through all the stress and hassle on your own. So that's the use visual language to understand what their assumption is, what their pre-memory is. Is that helpful? The brain believes what it sees, even if our brain lies to us sometimes. I mean, there's like, let's be honest, sometimes we see something and there's a perception filter and issues there. But as long as we visualize it clearly, our brain believes it's really happening. This is why we can enjoy movies, right? We know the person on the screen is a famous actor and making millions of dollars, but they can pretend to be a homeless person. And we can cry about that scene, and we can get really, really touched by it because our brain has that ability. We are a storytelling species. We have the ability to be social. So tell those stories. Every single interaction with your customers, you should be recording those stories. You should be turning them into anecdotes. These should be what you post about. These should be what you tell to the next person. We work mostly with media, so that's why I say the media responds to stories, but I would also say customers are there too. A lot of times when somebody asks you to be an expert, like for example, like my PR team could probably get anyone in this room, we could probably get you a lot of local press, get you well known in that area, but we could also get, you know, some national stuff and everything. But the way we would do it is we wouldn't just make you another form of Google, right? A lot of times when people do the interviews, they get asked a direct question like, well, where's travel headed these days? Or how do I get the best deal on something, right? And if you just give them the answer, then you're nothing more than just a search engine that can look things up, and their phone is a lot more efficient at that. Does that make sense? That people don't want to talk to somebody because they're afraid of being sold, and if you just inform them, it actually works against you. What you should do is tell a story. You should have several stories of clients and customers that you've worked with in the same situation as them. So if somebody comes to you and say, yeah, I've got 4 kids and my wife and I, we're trying to do this and I got to travel and I've got this business thing I've got to do and everything. So can you get me the best deal to get to California or whatever the question is, right? What you don't want to respond to that going, yes, let me look up California, right? You want to respond to that like, yes, absolutely. You know, I have a client just like you, and he was the same way. He was all stressed out, trying to figure out his travel all the time, had multiple kids. I've dealt with that before. Tell you what, here's a little secret with the kids. We can do this, this, and this, and that'll make it easier for them, and that'll make them happy, and then your wife will be less stressed, and you'll be less stressed. And do you hear how the conversation goes? And you just have to describe an example. Just have to describe a reason. All right. The next point is I want you to reduce your message to one feeling. A lot of times at this level of business, we're trying to be too many things to too many people. You feel me? You're trying to be the concierge, you're trying to be the genius expert about travel, you're trying to do every possible thing. And if you can just narrow it down to one feeling that you make them feel, maybe it's you make them feel secure. Maybe you give them peace of mind. I don't know what that is, but in advertising, this is absolutely the case. If you have, this is an old-timey advertising trick, not even just memory, but the brain can only think of one thing at a time. You can only sell one thing at a time, okay? So when you have an advertising message like Geico is brilliant at this, right? 15 minutes can save you 15%, and that's it. They just say it a billion different ways. But just try it. You can save, come here, save money. That's it, right? And then the general is even more like, oh, 15%, screw that, I can save you a ton. Like that's their message, right? But you just narrow it down to one feeling. Figure out one feeling that you're giving your customers. And then you want to narrow it down and just hit on that feeling again and again and again. But I don't want to say for everybody because you can niche yourself, obviously, in the travel industry. There might be some people here who are going after, the high-end travel. There might be people here just going after, like, I don't know, resort travel or something. I don't know where everybody wants to niche themselves. It might be that you want to be the travel agent that gives like amazing experiences, and you're the person to go to for that. My point is that the biggest mistake that small businesses made, and I've dealt with thousands of small businesses, both in my marketing company and here, the biggest thing is that we're afraid to lose the sale. Like, let's be honest, right? We're afraid to lose sales. So we're like, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do all of it, whatever, right? And we're not thinking that we want to just tell them, hey, I'm damn good at this. You got to do this, right? So I even have it in my PR firm. I'll talk to people, and we do like email marketing, we do a bunch of other stuff, and I say, yeah, but we really nail the PR, all right? When you're ready to get famous and you're ready to get to the next level, you come contact us. And I keep on hitting that. Even for people who aren't buying the PR, there's kind of a respect for something that is like, okay, I know what you are. We have to feel calm and secure when we're talking to people. We can't feel nervous and anxious in a sales situation, so we want to feel that calm, oh, I know what you do, and you take pride in your work and you know what you do. Even if I'm asking you to do something outside of it, I can't tell you how many times we had customers, we did a great job with PR, and they made us make a website. And I was very clear with them. I'm like, we're not the best in the world at making websites. But he was like, yeah, but you delivered on what you said you would do, so I trust you, and that's where. So you can still grow other services, you can still do other things, but be one thing. We've seen it tons of times where authors are trying to be everything, and they're nothing to no one. All right. Novelty is a visibility advantage. So when I was telling you to do those silly pictures, there's actually another level to that. There's a whole training behind doing it your way. So if anybody in this room, the technique didn't quite work for you, I can tell you that all you have to go through is my memory modes test, and you can learn how to do that yourself. And by the way, you can go beyond 16 items. You can go to 100, you can go to 1,000. Just don't break my record.
What is your record?
59 decks of cards.
59 days.
Yeah, 3,068 cards. Yeah. I did it as a personal challenge because I was so forgetful, because I was struggling so much. I wanted to challenge my brain to do it. So it is entirely possible to be born with a terrible memory and train it to do a feat like that. And let me tell you, I make some mistakes from time to time, but I would be so much worse if I didn't have my training, if I didn't have my techniques. I'd be in a different place. The point of novelty is when I got you to visualize something crazy, so we have an alternator on top of a skyscraper, instead of just I see an alternator and a skyscraper side by side or something boring. When you make it crazy like that, we're not trying to be silly, we're not trying to be goofy. It's called novelty. Your brain pays attention to what is novel and different. If I have a row of apples in front of me and all of them are red and one of them is green, you're going to look at the green one first. Does that make sense? Right? So your brain is hardwired that way. I actually call that principle the tiger in the jungle. Here, and you have to tell a story, right? So here's my story. Imagine it's 100,000 years ago and you're a hunter-gatherer walking through the jungle. And you see on your left, you see a beautiful tree and a bush. And there's a little stream and a lake and a rock. And there's a frog on the rock. And then you see a tiger. And then you see another trail over there. And you see another bush and you see a tree and you get eaten by the tiger. Because you didn't pay attention to the tiger. So our brains are really strongly wired to immediately pay attention to what's different and what's new. That's what novelty is. So you want to be one thing, but you also want to make sure that all of your marketing is novel, is different. The Santa Claus thing, that stands out. I got to give you props for that. But that's really what branding is all about. You have to be different enough to wake up the brain and same enough to be consistent. So I shouldn't say same enough. I should say just consistent. Be that peace of mind, right, for your customers. But also, you can be goofy. You can be the one wearing the red jacket and the plaid pants or whatever it is, whatever your style is, whatever your thing is. It could be super high-end or whatever, but you want to be different. You want to stand out. That's what novelty is really about.